Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land and hosted by me, Rolene Marks, where I bring you those top stories making headlines here in Israel every Monday to Thursday. And stay tuned to find out where you can find us on social media. But before we get to those important details, let's take a look at these important details. Now, last night, 22 countries, including countries as diverse as the United States, Israel, Hungary, Austria, Germany, Canada, Togo, and various others across the continents, released a very, very harsh statement condemning the United Nations Human Rights Council for their commission of inquiry against Israel. Now, this commission of inquiry was set up post last year's Operation Guardians of the Wall and is a permanent agenda item at the UNHRC. The statement condemns this commission of inquiry, saying that there is an almost obsessive and disproportionate focus on Israel at the United Nations Human Rights Council at the expense of other conflicts around the world. Now, what is also highly controversial is that the head of this commission of inquiry is a woman called Navi Pillay. She is ex-South African. She has served the United Nations on various bodies as well, and she is a known agitator. She is known in the past to endorse BDS. This is the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions movement, which countries like Austria and Germany have termed anti-Semitic. She has also been aligned to organizations that have ties to the PFLP, which is recognized as a terrorist organization. So when it comes to her credibility on anything about Israel, she really is not to be trusted to be impartial and balanced. Now, yesterday, while these hearings started, a other event was happening on the site. This is an event hosted by UN Watch, and a variety of different speakers, including Olga Meshwe Washington, Colonel Richard Kemp, Dr. Einat Wolf, Youssef Haddad, and various others spoke about Israel. They criticized and explained in great detail what was wrong with the Commission of Inquiry documentation, and actually handed Navi Pillay a request for her to absolve herself, or actually recuse herself, which is a better word, from the Commission of Inquiry. Now, hearings continued into today, and today Australia added their voice to the condemnation of the UN Human Rights Council Commission of Inquiry. Australia's representative to the UNHRC said that Australia condemns the Commission of Inquiry, condemns that there is a disproportionate focus on Israel, and that Israel remains a permanent agenda item at the UNHRC. Yesterday, we brought you the story that Israel's Foreign Minister Yair Lapid had appealed to Israelis in Turkey to leave with immediate effect and called on those who were bound for Turkey. Turkey is a very popular tourist destination for Israelis, to not do so unless absolutely necessary. This follows reports coming in from Israeli and Turkish intelligence that Iranian terrorists and operatives stationed in the country were planning to kidnap and kill Israeli citizens. And there are actually harrowing tales in the Israeli media today, calls to Israelis from Israeli security saying, get out of the country with immediate effect. And that's for you to read up. But have Israelis been leaving with immediate effect? And the answer is not, as they should be. There are still Israelis in Turkey who are largely ambivalent to what is going on, saying that, there has been an increase in Israeli security at various installations. However, the threat, according to Israel's National Security Council, is at its highest level ever. And the Foreign Minister Lapid said that it is real and immediate, and hopes that this won't last too long and that normal travel will be able to resume shortly. So if you are watching this and you are an Israeli in Turkey, or you are Turkey bound, please heed the Foreign Minister's warning. Yesterday, the EU Commissioner President Ursula von der Leyen landed in Israel. She will meet this week with Israeli President Isaac Herzog as well as Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. She is here to look at increasing trade and ties with Israel, especially in light of the shortage of gas following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Israel is a very desirable partner for Europeans to talk to because of our natural gas resources. However, before meeting Israeli leaders, Van Leyen met with Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian Authority president. We do know that they discussed the possible resumption of aid. However, the EU is still debating whether or not to condition the partial aid, which they will be possibly restarting, on removing incitement against Israel and Jews from Palestinian textbooks. We don't have guidelines that the EU Commission wants at the moment, but of course we will be following that story closely and bringing you the updates right here on the Israel Brief. And yesterday we spoke about Andrea Bocelli and some band called Big Thief or something or the other. Today we're going to talk about Iggy Azalea, another huge rap star around the world. She was the headline guest at Tel Aviv Pride, which took place over the weekend. 170,000 Israelis marched in support of the LGBTQ plus community. And when Iggy Azalea in her press conference was questioned, what does she think of BDS? Her answer was, BD who? She says, I don't know anything about them. She says, and in honesty, I don't know much about Israel, so I decided to come here and see for myself. Now that's how you do it, everybody. You don't just cut off ties with Israel or refuse to perform. You come here and you see the situation for yourself. Meanwhile, Africa for Palestine, one of the BDS supporting groups in South Africa, have threatened to disrupt Justin Bieber's concert there unless he cancels the Israeli leg of his world tour. Way to kick a guy down when he's suffering from paralysis on the one side of his face, guys. Africa for Palestine have said that they have purchased a huge block of tickets, and unless he cancels his trip to Israel, they will disrupt his concert. Well, that is proof, everybody, exactly how BDS works, not through dialogue, but through threats and intimidation. But I tell you what's not intimidating is our original content online, and you can find it on our website at www.layoftheland.online. There's an excellent article by Alex Rivkin all about Palestinian incitement. It will be up momentarily on our Facebook page, and while you are there, please give us a like or a follow and share our content. Our YouTube channel is at the Israel Brief. We would love it if you hit that red subscribe button. That way, more people get to hear the news from Israel. And of course, we're on Twitter at layoftheland5. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for your top stories.